Hey everyone, this is Christopher. This week we decided to do something just a little different. Instead of releasing a regularly scheduled main pod episode, we decided to release a bonus episode from the Lot1 Podcast After Show. These episodes are awesome. Essentially, they are a bonus episode to the main episode. The after show is about 20 to 45 minutes, depends on the guest, and they're a little bit more laid back. We get to know the people a little bit better. It's, hair down, get a glass of whiskey, and just hang out. And also, sometimes me and Deji have extra questions that we had in the main pod that we didn't have time to get to. So we focus on them in the after show. From all of us here at the Lot1 Podcast, thank you for your support. Enjoy this amazing bonus episode from the Lot1 Podcast After Show. Thank you.
Hey, and welcome to the Lot1 Podcast After Show. I'm Deji Bancole.
And I'm Christopher Henley.
We continue our conversation with Stephanie, Caleb, and Franchesca Lantz and hit topics like financing a film, deciding on how to make a project, and a lot more. So stick around because it's going to be great. Hey everybody, welcome to the after show. We are here with Stephanie and Franchesca, who have been gracing us with just an avalanche of amazing information about producing, starting a company. And in this, I don't know why, I don't usually ever introduce this like this, which is I'm kind of going off
book today.
Off book, yeah, exactly. So thank you so much for coming on the after show. This is gonna be also very self-serving, but how does a person who's maybe wants to be a director, how do they sort of get their scripts to you, because you guys are in acquisitions and things like that? So like how do you sort of accept those types of things?
We get this question all the time, especially from the various internship programs. At the end, we give them a sort of career day where they get to ask us all the questions. And the two most popular questions are how to get a job and how, if I want to be a director or a writer, how do I do this? And I give the same advice. So for a director specifically, you need to direct as much stuff as you can, shorts, even these horizontals, or these verticals, but horizontals. These verticals are really popular right now, and you can do them on your phone. They're being sold to TikTok. One of our line producers is producing a bunch of these right now. And get yourself a really good sizzle reel. And also, I would suggest a pitch deck. You basically need to be marketing yourself. You can't just walk up to someone and say, "Hey, I want to be a director. Can I direct one of your things?"
That doesn't work.
It's not that we're not into like doing nice things for people, but we have investors to answer to.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Being a first-time director is very hard. We've worked with amazing people who we know will be amazing if they're just given a chance. But then you have to get the talent to agree to work with them, and the investors to agree to invest in it. And the director is sort of the leader, but you just have to push until you get that first shot. And by that, in order to get there, I would just recommend a really great sizzle reel with as much stuff as you possibly can, and a beautiful marketing deck, maybe even a website, and really just market yourself. If you have that sizzle reel is going to be the main thing that we use to kind of judge, and then examples of your work. If you don't have any examples from your work and you say, "I want to direct," that's kind of hard on us. But if you've done shorts and you're looking for your first feature, and you've done this amazing short and maybe even submit it to a bunch of film festivals, you can get some recognition that way. That would be another great piece of advice, because then you're getting more and more exposure. You might even get some press on it. We just want to see that you've done something, you've handled a budget, you've worked with talent, and you've delivered, a beautiful piece of work. Even in film school, we had to do that. And I was never born to be a director. I respect directors. It wasn't for me. But we had to make full movies and short movies and commercials and stuff like that. So there's ways to do it without a lot of money.
Definitely. We're in a position like that right now where we have an incredible script and we have a lot of backing in terms of people within the industry that are backing our first timer director. But we're also still, and she's fully capable, and we know that she's going to do an incredible job. But she's still doing, a short as well, and we're sending it to a film festival just so that people are able to see. And she's done other shorts, but just so that we're all able to work together as a team and produce something together in the meantime while we're putting together the financing for it. So I think everyone does that. For sure, like just creating a whole package to market yourself, whether it's a short or even these TikTok videos, but also the deck, like Francesca said, is pretty powerful in terms of getting your vision across. But as far as scripts go, people usually find us through either LinkedIn or, our website. We have the email on our website. And so if you send in the scripts, we're not a big company, so they do get to us. It's not like if you send to one of the major studios and then it just kind of gets blown off.
As a producer, you said you're investing in a short film to send to festivals for this director to kind of help her direct the feature. Well, not help her direct it, but like help convince people that, hey, this is our person. She's great and stuff like that. Is that pretty common to do, or do you recommend that? Like if you're like, I know this person would do great, but we got to get you exposure, a little bit more exposure. Let's do a short film. We'll fund the festival run on it. Like, is that a pretty common practice? Do you recommend that?
Well, I think it's a common practice for most directors to have a slate of shorts that they have directed to be able to show. But I do think that, taking things the festival route is the smart way to go. And the short film that she's come up with it looks like it would be a festival darling, and it's based on some really good IP, based on a true story. So in this case, I mean, she came up with the idea for this new short, and then we discussed it and decided it'd be a great idea to take it to the festival and really kind of put our company behind it. It's her short, but it's going to be an Ardvella short that we're going to take to festival and get her some more exposure.
I will have this really like kind of burning question that came up in the main pod, and it could go a little deep, but the state of the industry that we're in right now, with all the consolidation and the potential, bankruptcies of certain companies and like streaming, are we feeling confident of like we're going to get through this very quickly? We're going to come out still doing horizontal, not just vertical, because I've been seeing a lot of vertical. I've worked on a lot of vertical recently. Do we feel like not freaking out yet, kind of freaking out? Like, how do we feel? What's the vibe going on?
You can't really freak out because this industry is ever changing. There was a time where network TV was all the rage, and then nobody did TV, and it was all about movies. And then movies are dead this year because streaming came out of nowhere, and now everyone wants TV shows. And now, and then COVID hits and everything stops, and then everyone's out of money and going bankrupt. Like, there's always going to be change. I think the best way to look at it is just to stay extremely well informed, read as much press as you can, get ahead of everything instead of lagging behind and waiting for it to pick up, and just be making your constant the fact that everything's always changing, like everything will always be adapting and evolving. You have to adapt and evolve with it.
Yeah.
But we freak out sometimes.
Same. No, I agree with Francesca. There's nothing. It's not like people are gonna want to stop being entertained, and that's never going to happen. In fact, the way that things have evolved is that people want more and more and more content all the time. I mean, the way that people are living on their phones, there's always content that needs to be created. I think people are still, they're streaming obsessively all the time. I still do. Something comes out, you want to watch the entire season. So things are going to keep changing. People are going to keep freaking out, and it's always going to be one doomsday after another. But at the end of the day, no one is going to say, I don't want any more content to watch, or I don't want to be entertained anymore. And we're always going to want to be watching, TV shows, whether, they're streaming or on our phone, and we're always going to be wanting to watch movies. That's not going to end. So
I feel like the theme has been quantity over quality recently. And I've always been a person of like, I'd prefer quality over quantity, but I understand that they need to pad the streaming services to keep people engaged and like all those types of things. Is that something you guys pride yourself in? You're going to focus on the quality of the work that you're doing versus like just shoving out? Because I feel like that's been a huge theme that's been kind of like taking over the industry. And I hope we're kind of moving away from it. I mean, I'm sure you are. Quality is always important to us filmmakers, right? Who really care about the work we're doing. And I don't feel like they're doing it on purpose, but it just feels like, can we focus back on good storytelling?
Good storytelling.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's, kind of what our mandate at Ardvella is leaning into the things that we know really well. And so two of the things that we know really well with After Dark Films, we created these lower budget horror films. So we know what the audience wants. We know how to engage with that audience. They already know who we are. And we're able to do those films, relatively inexpensively. So while there will be a lot of quantity there's definitely going to be the quality, because we know what the audience wants. I mean, the horror audience is very discerning but they're also very welcoming, right? So they're excited for any company that comes along with horror and willing to give them a shot. But they're also the first ones to beat you up if you try to shovel some crap their way. So we're not doing that. I mean, we know what kind of horror films we want to make, but we also have another side to our slate, which is these films that we are doing with very much kind of that festival route idea behind them, and pedigree and great talent that we're bringing to the show, but dramas and thrillers and things that we kind of see are merging into that whole awards kind of category. So the ones, I think on both sides, very good storytelling, and that's important.
Yeah. And I mean, like, the theme that I'm hearing from you is know your audience. And because you guys know your audience, you're going to deliver something good. And I feel like that a lot of filmmakers lose that, is they just kind of like, I'm going to tell my story and it's going to be this. And like, well, do people want to consume that? Do they want to, are you going to be serving them? You got to remember the business side of it, so that's really cool to hear. I just wanted to kind of like dig in a little bit, find out a little of that, information. The Lot1 Podcast is brought to you by the Tourist Hat Coffee Company. You know what keeps me running on those long film sets, Stagey?
What's that, Chris?
Coffee. And you know what's the worst thing ever?
A swift kick in the pants.
No, bad coffee. So that's why I choose Tourist Hat Coffee Company's high-quality coffee beans. Their artisan-roasted, single-origin coffee and handcrafted blends are so much better than those stale stuff you get from those other brands.
Yeah, those things are bad.
Tourist Hat Coffee Company's coffee is artisan roasted, micro roasted, single origin, and their small batch roaster that handcrafts their blends to maximize peak freshness upon delivery. Family owned and operated. What more could you ask for from a coffee company, Deji?
I literally can't think of anything else.
If you're still not sold, a portion of each purchase goes towards contributing to some of their favorite nonprofit organizations, such as Animation Dance Community, Seeds of Hope International, and Beautiful Gate Orphanage.
These guys are good.
Make Tourist Hat Coffee Company your new go-to quality coffee choice with our exclusive offer for you, the Lot1 Podcast listener.
Oh, listen up, guys.
First-time customers can use the code LOT1BOGO at checkout to receive one free bag of coffee when you buy two. That's right, Deji, buy two, get one free.
Whoa.
So head on over to touristhatcoffeecompany.com and use promo code Lot1BOGO at checkout. Again, that is LOT1 BOGO at checkout. Whether you work in the film industry or not and want a delicious cup of coffee, this is the perfect time to stock up on your favorite blends of coffee or try something new. I know I'll be brewing Tourist Hat on my sets moving forward, Deji. Again, that's promo code Lot1 BOGO, LOT1 BOGO at checkout to claim your buy two, get one free. Terms and conditions apply. Tourist Hat, coffee that fuels your adventure.
So I do have a question. So how do you finance a film?
People always ask that, and I always turn around and ask them, have you ever seen a unicorn on the side of the road when you're driving? I have real legitimate answers for it, but it's so much easier said than done. It's a process. I actually just I taught a fellowship on this, and I was like, how do you even explain this? Because, the easiest answer is, have a nice network of financiers and then be able to go out to them. Yeah. But I think it's just about the package, really, like how you're marketing yourself and how you're marketing your package. Having credibility with these investors, because they want to feel like they're safe and that their money is safe. But not only that, a lot of times they just want to, invest in something fun and exciting and do something new. So if you can find a way to package yourself to these investors in a way that will keep them engaged, I think that is the smartest way to do it. I think when we first started out, we were literally doing like, okay, well, we don't know a lot of investors in the beginning, so let's reach out to everyone we know who's ever invested money, and let's go on LinkedIn and find these new companies and email these companies and cold calls. In the beginning, that's how it starts for everybody. Not, we didn't just jump in and say, oh, we'll ask one of our billionaire friends to like loan us $20 million. We had to work for it. And then you kind of like start building this network of potential financiers. But if you don't walk into it with confidence, like your movie is going to do well, but why? Why this movie? Why should you invest in this movie or this package of films? They're going to see right through you. So you have to actually be the confidence that you exude, I think.
I mean, one of the things that we have going for us when we are talking to investors is that because we came from this background where we were also self-distributing our films, and we understand, and also self-selling some of our films. I mean, we had a huge slate of horror films that Francesca and I personally, went to AFM, got ourselves a room at the Lowe's Hotel, and did outreach to all of these foreign buyers by just, like carpet bombing basically with emails and pictures of our films and saying, come buy them. And these were films that were a couple years old, and we just hadn't sold certain territories. We had a list of all the territories that were available. We targeted all those territories, had a room, they came in, and we did our pitch. So we actually understand how that process is done and how important it is, like from beginning to end. So we can talk to our financiers about, okay, first we need to make the film, and this is what the budget of the film is going to be. And as you can see, it's all going on the screen, or it's not going into people's pockets, but then also showing, hey, we know how to distribute the film. These are the distributors that we know. These are the acquisitions people at the studios that we already know. This is who we're going to outreach to. Yes, we know how to sell a film. We know who all the international sales companies are. We know the owners of them. We've worked with them in the past on all these other films. So we know how to get them to sell all of the international territories. And if for any reason they couldn't, we would be able to go do it ourselves.
But it's important to know, if you have a $5 million film, you actually don't need a single dollar. There's a model that you can work with where you don't, for the people who don't know, you can go to a state like Louisiana, take advantage of the 40% tax incentive. And then you get a bank to sort of back that 40%, knowing that it's going to get paid back. And then you only have to worry about the 60%. But if you make that movie within the budget of what an international sales company, assesses it to be, like they say, you know what, if you do it with this director and this cast, it's only worth $3 million. and then you figure out how to make it for 3 million instead of 5, get the 40%, and then you make it a deal with these international sales companies to where they will buy all the territories before you even shoot. You can actually get the full budget of your movie before you even starting, or you can at least get a piece of paper with a tax rebate on it and a piece of paper with the sales company saying that they're going to make this much money off of it, and then you can go to a bank to get the rest.
Oh, that is something no one has talked about at all on this podcast. We always ask this question: how do you finance a film? And it's always the same thing, right? Package, blah blah blah. But no one's ever talked about that. That's I always like. To me, because we work on such a low budget and we're in LA and stuff, it's like tax incentives have always been like, I understand what they are, but I've never understand how to utilize and push those. And the knowledge that you guys bring to that, I'm sure your investors, you could probably ask anyone and they'd give you money to make a movie with your experience.
Not anyone.
Yeah.
And obviously there's different ways of financing your films as well. You can do it on an individual film basis, like what she was just talking about, or I mean, certain people you might have a slate of films. And so being able to present that slate and saying that it's well-rounded and that you're able to reach all these different audiences with those films. Some people choose to put together, film funds that can finance more than one film at a time. So
I do have one question before we have to wrap up soon. Just because you've said it multiple times, what is a package?
So I think that in general terminology, packaging a film means putting together all the elements, right? So think of a box and you're packaging everything up in the box. So making sure that everything that's supposed to be in there is in there. So for instance, you can go to different companies like UTA, CAA, WME, and say, will you help me package our film? Which means putting together all the talent that's needed. So not just going and putting in the talent in terms of the actors and the actresses, but also making sure that you have the right director, making sure that you have the right DP, for certain films, the right special effects people coming on board. So packaging just means kind of bringing all the different elements together to make this kind of sexy, right, for an investor.
Yeah, that, and even like your pitch deck that goes along with your script. But if I go to an investor and I say I have this beautiful script, I think you guys would really love to invest in it. They're going to be like, okay. But if I go to this investor and say I have this other great script, but it has an Emmy-nominated director attached to it, and we have an award-winning DP, and we already have this very, very up-and-coming actor attached to it, then all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, well, this one's like ready to, and we're ready to go. Like, we can start shooting next month. The team is in place. Here's a beautiful deck we've created that shows everyone's bios, who's attached to the film. Which film do you think the investor is going to, invest in? Even if this script could win an Academy Award and this one's like pretty funny, they want to go where their money is actually going to be ready to be used, as opposed to who knows how long it'll take for us to get a director attached or a talent. Because that could take a long time.
So the packaging is basically, putting all, like you said, putting all the elements together and presenting it to investors. I mean, I guess even like actors, or whoever you want to attract to the project to get them on board.
Okay. which is really kind of, I think earlier Francesca was talking about development, how she was like, oh, I want to get into development. That seems easy. I'll read a script and I'll get notes on it. Packaging is actually development. I mean, if you're going to develop a project, that's packaging a project. It's reading the script and going, oh, that's great. Or here's some notes on it, or God, this is fantastic. I don't have to give any notes on it because now I got to move on to the rest of development. So that's kind of what, as you're developing a project, you're packaging a project. You're making it something that's sellable.
I have way more questions than we have time for. I want to thank you both so much for being on the show. I kind of feel like I want to invite you guys back, because there's so much more. To be back. But yeah, so for the people at home, where can they find you and connect with you? about film and.
Yeah, so our website is ardvellaentertainment.com. We also have a LinkedIn page, Ardvella Entertainment. And then each one of us, Francesca and I, each have LinkedIn, and we also are on IMDb. And that's a really good way. But as far as connecting with us, there's an email address on the website that you can, and we read it. We read all these emails because we're a small company. So the people that own the company are actually reading all the emails. So if scripts are sent in, they will get covered eventually.
Be patient.
Yeah.
There will be a response. So it's not one of those things where you're just like shooting something off into the void.
Yeah.
But awesome. IMDb is a great place to go to in order to kind of see what the company is about, but also what Francesca and I personally have done as producers over the years.
Yeah. It's a long list.
Yeah.
It's a long list on IMDb.
It's just a great way to kind of, get to know what we've worked on. But the email on our website, it's not just a generic email. We actually do read everything on there.
That's awesome.
Wonderful.
Well, thank you again so much for being on this show with us, and I hopefully we can talk real soon.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
And that's a wrap for the Lot1 Podcast After Show.
Huge thanks to Stephanie and Francesca for going deeper with us.
Connect with us on Instagram, TikTok, at the Lot1 Podcast for exclusive behind-the-scenes content. And hey, we are always open to listener mail. Check out Lot1 Productions at lot1productions.com for the latest updates on all of our projects.
Until next time, stay creative, dream big, and remember, sometimes all you gotta do is trust the process. See you next time.